Greenhouse warming theory is rapidly becoming the most expensive mistake ever made in the history of science. Video 1, an introduction. Earth has warmed approximately 1 degree Celsius, nearly 2 degrees Fahrenheit, since 1975. Most of this warming was caused by humans. New data and improved scientific understanding, however, show unequivocally that increases in emissions of greenhouse gases cannot physically explain observed global warming. This is a most inconvenient reality for the vast majority of climate scientists who have worked earnestly for decades to demonstrate consensus behind greenhouse warming theory in order to convince political leaders to spend the major funds required to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. This strategy paid off with the Paris Agreement of 12 December 2015, when leaders of nearly all countries in the world agreed to work together to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. But as leaders seek to define the rule book for future action, fatal cracks are opening in the foundation of greenhouse warming theory. I believe climate science is facing a major crisis in 2019. Most climate scientists are so convinced greenhouse gases are the cause of global warming, they simply refuse to even consider the possibility that greenhouse warming theory could be mistaken in any way. They summarily dismiss as spam any questioning of greenhouse warming theory, refusing to examine the remarkably clear evidence of a serious problem. Ignoring new, inconvenient observations is not good science, but it is human nature. We need to bring genuine debate back to climate science. Healthy science is never settled. Ignoring reality will not make the problem go away. It will only delay taking action that will reduce global warming. Ignoring reality will increase the already astronomical economic and political costs of greenhouse warming theory, which is rapidly becoming the most expensive mistake ever made in the history of science. While most climate scientists and scientific organizations are absolutely certain that greenhouse warming theory is correct, why should you listen to me? Because the closest things to truth, the closest things to reality in science, are direct observations of how things work in nature. Direct observations that do not rely on assumptions, theory, or mathematical equations written long ago that everyone takes for granted as being correct. Everything I'm about to explain is based on direct observation. 10 years ago, I too was convinced that greenhouse warming theory explained why the world was getting warmer. I too was deeply concerned about the world we were leaving for my 4 children and my 6 grandchildren. But several things just did not make sense. As I began to wonder why, I found that several assumptions believed by most climate scientists to be fact just do not stand up to close scrutiny. To my amazement, I found that I was the first person trained in physics in 119 years to question in detail the physics of greenhouse warming theory. It's hard to believe that a theory this important to humanity is based on assumptions made long ago that are clearly mistaken. A major part of the problem is widespread misunderstanding in physics and in climate science for more than 2 centuries about what heat is physically and how heat flows through matter, air, and space. It's not that I'm particularly smart. It's just that I have spent many years objectively questioning widely held assumptions concerning the physics of heat and the physics of greenhouse warming theory that, as you will come to see, just do not stand up to scrutiny. Max Planck was one of the fathers of modern physics and the one scientist who almost got the physics of heat right in 1900. In 1936, he explained, "New scientific ideas never spring from a communal body, however organized, but rather from the head of an individually inspired researcher who struggles with his problems in lonely thought and unites all his thought on one single point, which is his whole world for the moment." The details of the 2019 crisis in climate science are described in the following 16 5 to 10 minute videos that can be viewed in any order. The observations that I describe are quite straightforward and quite clear. You do not need special training in science to understand. Many scientists want me to show that they are wrong by using their equations and their computer models. I am showing, however, that their equations and their computer models predicting major warming within decades are based on mistaken equations that are based on mistaken assumptions. Videos 2 through 6 describe evidence for global warming and for the role of humans and of volcanic eruptions in causing observed climate change. Videos 7 through 10 explain what is mistaken concerning greenhouse warming theory and why this theory is physically impossible. Videos 11 through 16 discuss issues related to setting informed public policy concerning climate change. Science evolves. Science is self-correcting. I hope these videos encourage you to think more deeply about the science of climate change and how we should adapt. I sincerely hope that you enjoy this quest for new scientific understanding as much as I do. Thank you.